A very big welcome to you, my dear Libra. The sun now is in Virgo, giving the light, of course, to the moon in your sign. And so we're going to the left because you have your new moon in the next reading. And that's why I placed the card here to the left, because this is the 9th major arcana and you're the 11th major arcana. So in a way there is a date here, right? The 9th of November or the 11th of September. Observe and watch how that makes you feel. Now if I calculate them together, I get a 20, and the 20 is the last judgment, and that's Pluto. And Pluto has been going back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius in the last year, and now it's its last time in Capricorn and will, in the end of November, which is the 11th month, go fully for 20 years into Aquarius. And so it's quite a powerful energy, right, that we need to actually consider. So here you are sitting between two pillars, and you have the black and white here as the tiles, as here these two pillars, and you have the scale in your hand, and you're the one that likes to be just. Now absolute justice doesn't exist because it would be death. This complete stillness, right, doesn't exist because then you're dead. Now here in Virgo we see Luca Pacioli. This is Salvador Dali's deck. You have the Golden Dawn Tarot, right? And we see him as a genius in mathematics. And we see here the 5 and the 4 through the Roman numbers. And of course we know the 4 is the Emperor, the 5 is the Hierophant, the two most powerful people or patriarchs that have been controlling our lives in the last thousands and thousands of years, right? And so Virgo is saying, I am not part of this patriarch energy. I am my own empowered male figure. And as such, he has this like crown, and he has the lantern, and in the lantern we see this human being inside, this new baby, right? This newborn energy, because when we combine the 5 and the 4, we get the 9, the completion. And so you give yourself constantly in between these two numbers the energy to renew yourself, right? And this is what is talking here today. So we have, of course, then Mercury that is ruling Virgo, and Mercury, of course, is always the language and your mind. And we have Venus ruling you, and Venus is the Empress. And so we're going to look into the Empress. It's love and beauty, and Mercury is the magician, right? So remember, in the Tarot, these positions are neutral. There is not a zodiac sign really connected to it, because everybody can have Mercury in their sign. But who rules Virgo is Mercury and also Gemini, right? And Venus is connected with you and with Taurus, and so Taurus is right here. And so when we look at this, we understand how numbers really can teach us a story. Then, of course, in the yoga position, because I do a lot with yoga and also with the chakras, we see here the past and the future coming together in the cosmic egg, and it's in the present moment that this kind of evolutionary energy that you create deep within yourself appears. I gave you a very beautiful position. It's kind of like you're holding yourself in balance. You're holding your hands in Namaste in your center. We have the yin and yang. We have the sword pointing at the third eye. And here you balancing on your tiptoes, right? And it's a beautiful pose because this pose was used for bathing. Women were like, okay, I'm bathing like this. And it is a female, right? Here, the Justice. It's not a male, which is very interesting that it's not a male. So this today, right? Sun in Virgo, moon in your sign, and it's waning, it's getting less and less, and in the next reading you have the new moon. And so of course we're going to the left, to the new moon, to the soul, to the right, to the full moon, the human path that we can take. You are the Queen of Swords. Is your birthday between September 12 and October 12, then is she your court card. Remember, she's quite clear with the way she in an intellect sees how someone is using their ego, and that's why she's holding this head in her left hand. Always remember, when a person in the deck looks to the left, it's when you look at the card. When you become the card, you see that she is actually looking to the right, and so there is a cyclical energy in there, in the way you actually see the card and then become the card, right? So this to the Libra court card. You are the 7th zodiac sign, and then as such you connected with the 7th house of love and relationships, and the Libra energy is about beauty, everything about beauty you love, right? And so we have the scale up here, and of course your sign, which is actually letting you know you are really someone that loves to make things beautiful. Then back to the last reading, we had Leo Sun giving Libra Moon the light. Believe in your healing power and let higher consciousness guide you. Now, I always include the last reading because I want to see if there is a reoccurring card, and sometimes there is and sometimes there isn't, and I need to look closely because sometimes it's from another deck, because that's what I love about this, is like I have, of course, because I use different decks, different schools as well, right? And understand that the 8 is actually Leo, right? But sometimes in certain decks the 8 is you, and so we just have to consider that. I do not see a reoccurring card. Really interesting. Usually I do, but here there is none. Okay, good. So we begin. But before we begin, I want to show you a new deck, and it's the Star Seeds. And these are very specific cards for kind of, let's say, people that we think that are out there, but they haven't shown themselves to us because they're in a different realm. And so here the Star Seed people, channeled by Birgit Fischer, she's Austrian, has come to me because this deck was given to me as a gift from a very dear friend. And at first I wanted to get acquainted to them myself, and then they immediately spoke to me and wanted to be included in the readings, and so I have been including them. And I picked a card for you, and this is the card. Now, of course, I allow you to just feel what you're feeling when you're looking at this card. It could be that you like, yes, yeah, or you like, no, and you need to listen to that, right? Which is very important. Everything in this reading is actually important to know, something that you need to feel, right? And if you don't feel it, then it doesn't talk to you, it's talking to someone else, because these are general readings, but nevertheless there's always something that rings true to you in your situation right now. Arcturians. So we're gonna have a look at what they want to tell you. Now remember, these are German cards. I mean, German here explained, so I need to translate. You are the messenger of the future. Other people are messenger as well, like you. Listen and see what kind of messages the universe wants to bring you. Now, the Arcturians are people that bring the energy of communication to us. They are very strongly working here on planet Earth with us humans, and they want to help in the way we communicate between each other. Now, they do not just work with people who can communicate telepathically, but also people who have lost that kind of energy and want them to help to remember that. So ask yourself, am I able to listen when I am angry? Second, am I able to develop the acceptance of a well brought information by another, right? Someone that gives you advice. And three, are you able to speak openly about a topic that is difficult for you and difficult to talk about? So, because we are working here on the 7th house of love and relationship, and what's happening between two people is always communication. The way you communicate is what makes your relationship something special, right? And so they are here to help you to communicate, and please feel free not to accept, right, their energy, because you need to listen to you if this feels right or actually wrong to you. So we begin the reading with the court card, right? Because that's your physical energy that you embody. And we have with the Queen of Swords the Five of Wands. And the Five of Wands is talking about accepting the challenge, to know that there are always other people that might challenge you in the way you do things, because the five is connected with the five senses or even the Hierophant. You understand that this is the constellation Saturn in Leo, and Leo is the 5th zodiac sign. And so either you feel this is more like an energy in regards of spiritual teachings, or this is an energy in playfulness, right? Because the 5th zodiac sign is joy and playfulness and having fun. So you can pick which one works for you. The 7 and the 5 is the 12, and that's the Hangman, that's Neptune. And Neptune is bringing you here a message that says, let go of being right, let go of knowing everything. You don't need to know everything. You can also not know and still have a good time. And the 12 then brings the 3 when we calculate together, and the 3 is then, of course, the Venus energy that we talked about. Venus is love and beauty, but also the money, and Venus is the Empress. So in a way, the Empress is appearing here, and you are recognizing the Empress is someone that you identify very much with. So the Empress plays the game, but she's not getting sucked into the game. So just remember that. Then we look at the Empress, right? She's the first one, the number 3, and the Empress is bringing you here the Last Judgment. Now, what's interesting is that here, these two cards calculated together was the 20, right? And I told you that's Pluto, and Pluto has just gotten back into Capricorn, and Capricorn is again the career and the money and the finances, and it will stay until the 18th of November in Capricorn, and then it will go for good for 20 years into Aquarius. And Aquarius is a little bit this angel up here, right? And so the 3 and the 20 brings you the 5, and the 5 again is here. So you have a 5-5 portal that is saying, well, listen to the call, because this call is important. This call is saying, are you aware that there are huge planets out there that are influencing us, and we need to understand what does the sun mean, right? The sun is this, like, I radiate this beingness out into the world, and the moon, right, that is in your sign right now, I am the feelings and the subconscious, and I'm gonna look deep down into what is actually Virgo bringing to me, right? Because Virgo is giving me a little bit of light, because you're going towards the new moon, and so there's not much light that is visible on the surface of the moon, right? And so you need to understand and connect with that, because it influences you, right? The 6 months to the new moon, it's more an introverted path, and the 6 months to the full moon, which is going to your opposite sign, and that is, of course, Aries for you, right? Aries is going to give you the light for your full moon, is important to understand. It's integrating the opposite sign, what makes your life so important and valuable, right? And so here the 5 is talking to you. What else is coming from your deck, right? Because it's Venus, and Venus is connected with you. We get actually the Tower coming here, and the Tower is Mars, and Mars rules the Emperor. Now we have here the 5 and the 4, which creates the 9 in Virgo, right? Remember that. And so we have the 5, right? And here we have the Emperor, right? The Emperor is connected with Mars, and something is saying something is gonna go, something is leaving, and it's the 16. There is the 10, Jupiter inside, the Wheel of Fortune, and there's the 6, self-love, right? And out of these two in combination, we get the 7, the emotional intelligence. And so these are two major arcanas that are speaking to you. Very important to see that. You have the 20, and you have then here the 16, that's the 36, and the 36 creates a 9. So here you have a 9. The 9 plus the 3, of course, is then the 12. And the 12, again, Neptune is talking. Very interesting, right? So you are seeing how we can, through the numbers, really understand what is coming and what is talking. And so observe and see that. Now I can also simply calculate here the 16 into a 7, the 7 and the 20 is the 27. The 27 also turns into a 9, right? And then the 9 plus, of course, the 3 again is the 12, and the 3 is left. So observe and watch how that makes you feel. What is leaving? What is Pluto, that is now in Capricorn, telling you to let go of, right? And that's what is coming here. Then we have the Mother Peace Tarot, and we have the Shaman to the left. And the Shaman of Discs is actually Taurus. And Taurus is saying things in the financial district, right? In all the money situations, all the institutions, something is now leaving, and it's good that it's leaving. Now, the Taurus is the second zodiac sign. 20 plus 2 is the 22. The 22 is Uranus, and Uranus is the Fool. And the Fool is 0, yes, but it's the 22nd major arcana, right? And as a 0, it's a 0, and as a 22, it's a portal. And the portal is always that moment where we recognize, okay, what is this portal telling me? 2 times 2, be creative in how you see your creativity, how you see spirituality, how you see duality. And this is a date, right? The 22nd of July is that date, ringing a bell, right? But we can also create out of this, with the 9 and the 7 is the 10, the 22nd of October. And that falls into your energy, right? And so observe and watch how these cards talking in a very mysterious and actually very beautiful way. And so the 3 that we had left here plus the 2 is again the 5. 5, 5, right? So 2 times 5, observe and watch what that is letting you know. 5 is the throat chakra, is the communication, and I think the communication is how you actually also share that you do not want to compete, because this is the competing card. Then on the position of Justice comes Taurus. And Taurus is, of course, the number 5, again a 5, 5. So the 5, the communication is very strong. And it's really amazing how these cards are talking to me. It's really like, I cannot deny that they're very clearly letting me know, yeah, we can help here in these readings, right? And so this is again a date, the 11th of May, right? Or the 5th of November. Again, watch and observe how that makes you feel. So Taurus is here. Taurus is, of course, here the Hierophant, is the spiritual teachings, not to compete and not to try to overly be someone that tells others what to do and how to do it. And I want to see what Virgo is bringing, because Virgo is giving you now the energy. It's the Pages of Cups, and that's the 3 water signs, which is Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And you see they're here enjoying themselves, because these are the young generations, right? These are the children. This is the new generation that is coming, and they cannot work with this type of messenger anymore. They use different messengers, right? And so the 3 and the 5 is an 8, and the 8 is the strength that you need to recognize the spiritual message behind here. And then the date changes, the 11th of August, right? Or the 8th of November. So observe again how that makes you feel. Now see if there is a young generation in your life of a Cancer, of a Scorpio or a Pisces. These are the emotional children that are cutting through our bullshit, kind of, right? And so observe what is coming here through the Mother Piece Tarot, the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune, slightly to the right, is saying that when the 10 is facing gently here to Taurus, then we get actually a 15, and that's Capricorn. And of course, Pluto is in Capricorn right now. And so the Last Judgment is calling you and saying, observe your finances, observe also that you have the Shaman of discs, right? And you have the Major Arcana, you have the Court card and the Major Arcana of Taurus. And here you have the 5, which is always connected in a way to Taurus. Now, because the X or the 10 is facing Taurus, we see that there is this zodiac sign here on top, and that's where I have to read the meaning of this card. And that's why I love this card, because they're round and I cannot manipulate how they come out, and each position has its meaning. And this is Capricorn. And so Capricorn is saying, yes, observe now the banks, the finances, the career, where you put the money, how you put it, and see how the young generation does that in a completely different way. And Capricorn is the 10th zodiac sign. So again, the 10 of the Wheel of Fortune is there, but also the 10th zodiac sign. So it is a 15. And the 15 calculated together is the 6. And the 6 again is self-love that has appeared here through the Tower, through the 16, right? The Wheel of Fortune here, the 10 and the 6, right? The 10 and then calculated together the 6. So you understand that the message is very strong and very clear. And so watch and observe. Now when we calculate all of this together, we get, of course, the 10, we get the 8, it's the 18, that's your subconscious talking. And now we get the 18th of November. Guess what? On the 18th of November, Pluto is moving into Aquarius for 20 years for good, right? And it's like, wow, this is the message. This is a clear message. I mean, clearer it doesn't get. And you have, of course, you have Pluto here, the last judgment. It is going to affect you, and it is going to do something to you. So watch, because you are an air sign. And Aquarius is also an air sign. That's the king of swords. You, Libra, are the queen of swords, right? And so watch and observe. Then we look at the moon, and the moon is bringing you here. Look at that, the 8, the crown games. And you see how the face is where actually the belly is, and the crown is where actually the heart and the head is not even existing. There's just this strange little thing up here. And so the 8 is letting you know that the 8 is the strength that you need to understand in your subconscious there are still games playing that the patriarch put into you. Remember the patriarch here, the Taurus and the Emperor, and Taurus has come up as the major arcana, and Taurus has come up as the shaman. And look at this shaman. He is actually asking the eagle for advice, and so it's very beautiful, right? And understand how important that is, because we need to include now more shamanic traditions and not be stuck in this game right here. Now, so here the 18 turns into the 9, and the 8 is the 17, and the 17 is then Aquarius. And so observe that you're not in your head, because that's what the King of Swords does. He's very much in his head. You need to come down into your belly and understand the game of crown, right? Or the right use of power. You need to act from your belly. You need to put your crown where your heart is and not up where your head is, and then think you can just do whatever you want. You need to include the heart, right? So the 17 then again is the star, and then the 8 is left. Then we have here from your deck the 8 Leo, the strength card. So you have an 8-8 portal, very beautiful, very clear, right? The empowerment. And what's interesting is Leo is opposite of Aquarius, and so Aquarius needs to come into its heart when they rule something, or when they become now then empowered through Pluto, that Pluto is the one that is actually creating the mysteries, the new understanding of the underworld, of death, of transformation, right? And there is something that is leaving you. There is something where you're falling down into the abyss, right? It's like, let it happen, because you might just come out very strong as an 8-8 portal, and the 18 above, then the 9 stays here, and the 8-8 as a portal I leave, right? I don't calculate portals together. So 88 lets you know that you are learning to be creative in being an earth star, being here the strong leader that you can be, because Saturn in Leo is here. So don't play games anymore, right? Come into your heart. Now, what is the Mother Piece Tarot bringing? The 5 of Cups slightly to the left. And to the left, it's saying here, Mars in Scorpio. Observe this kind of message, because the 8 and the 5 is the 13, and the 13 is Scorpio. And Mars in Scorpio is saying, well, you gotta learn to deal with a certain sadness that is maybe coming up when you see that these games are still happening out there in the world. And you see all of this is talking in your subconscious, the moon, right? The moon in your sign is bringing you that. And so the 9 plus the 5 is the 14, that's Sagittarius. Temperance. Become more in an equilibrium with how you deal with things. And the 5 is left. 5-5 portal here, the wands and the cups, right? See that then here the 8 and the 5 is the 13. The 4 comes, and the 4 is Aries. We are opposite sign. And again, I can here do a few variations. We had, of course, the 17, which is the star, which is Aquarius, right? And so when we now calculate all together, we leave the 8-8 portal, we do the 9, and the 5 is the 14, and the 5 is left. So this is where we focus, right? Here you understand what's happening and what's talking, but here you also need to see that these sticky starfish are like spilling the pearls, and the pearls always look a little bit like tears, right? And sometimes sadness is good, sadness is healing, sadness is releasing. When there is a game, right, of thrones or of crowns, right, then you are releasing sometimes the energy through tears. And now the sun. The sun is bringing you the attraction, the magnetic energy that the sun has, right? And here we see, of course, that you as a child are fascinated by the magnetic energy. We have the 37, the 3, the Empress, and the 7, the emotional intelligence, together the 10. The 10 is amazing because, again, the Wheel of Fortune is coming and is saying, well, remember, Capricorn is actually now ruling a little bit the market again in our subconscious. And as a child, you already have understood something, that there is something fascinating out there. You always looked up into the sky. And the 19 turns into a 10 as well. So you have a 10-10 portal, plus the 10 of the Wheel of Fortune is a 10-10-10. 3 times the 10 is saying that 3 times the 1 is also here, right? And the 1 is the magician. So the magic lies in the eye of a child. Then what is Virgo saying? The 6 of Swords. And the 6 of Swords is Mercury in Aquarius. And Mercury is the magician, the 1. And then, of course, the Aquarius is again then the understanding that Pluto is going to go into Aquarius. And so understand really that Pluto is really talking to you, and that you need to learn, right? And you did learn. You were always fascinated by the information, and you keep learning. And I see myself in this reading because I am a Queen of Swords. I am, as a major arcana, the Hermit. But I'm the Queen of Swords already. I'm not the Knight of Pentacles. And so I'm a mixture. And I see here the 6, the self-love in learning. Here the 10 and the 16 appears. The 10 and the 6 as the 16, you know that sometimes things need to go. Maybe certain belief systems need to go because you thought they were true, because people told you them over and over. That's how it functions, that's how it works. And you're like, no, you are learning and learning, and you're seeing, no, it's not like that. And then the Mother Peace Tarot brings you the 3 of Cups. Now you had 5 cups and 3 cups, you have 8 cups, so you have 3 times the 8. And you had the Hierophant and the Young Generation, right? The Pages of Cups, that was also an 8, so you have 4 times the 8, and 4 is always the heart. So see that you are learning, right, to understand what this world is all about. Now the 3 of Cups, we see here 3 goddesses coming together doing a ritual, and here is this animal here in the water in the form of a shape of a half moon, and it's an animal that is horse, half fish, half bird. And because it's reverse, it's saying you're not, almost not ready to really understand what is talking here. Here is the 6, the 6 and the 3 is the 9. And so it's almost like Virgo is telling you, but listen to the information. Listen to what's coming. because I do see the blue of Virgo coming through here, the information. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and that's the information that's coming. And however the information comes, it can also come through the Arcturians, right? And so observe how that makes you feel, right? And understand this is Mercury in Aquarius, and this is Mercury in Cancer. And Cancer has come up here, right, with the Page of Cups. Cancer, Scorpio, and of course Pisces. And Scorpio came up in a 13 previously, right? And so understand the 10 and the 3 is also 13, transformation, right? Something needs to go, something needs to leave. The 4 is left, the 4 and the 6 is a 10. The 10 plus the 10 is the 20. And so you understand that really Pluto is actually saying, yes, something needs to go. So we're going to put Pluto here because then the circle is closing. But I can close the circle with putting this card here. So what are you playing with? You're playing with information, you're playing with feelings, you're playing with you being a child, right? And understand that sometimes we need to test each other with others, and that's at the heart here of Saturn. Saturn is the world in Leo, and Leo came up, right? Leo was here as the strength card, and the crown games, and go and bring your crown into your heart and your face into your guts and rule from there. And then you can also cry, sometimes cry, and the 8 is here, right? The 3 and the 5 creates then an 8 as well. And so you see how strong the information is in the messages. And as such, I hope you have gotten out of this reading your information. Remember that here, you letting go, you diving into the emotional aspect. You're not just thinking, you're not just acting, you also emotionally want to get deep down into your guts, the 12, right? There's the 12 zodiac signs. It could also be Pisces, the 12, and actually Neptune is ruling Pisces. So what comes out is the Empress. You are an Empress, and as such, you act like an Empress, and you don't go into this kind of game. If it's a game, yes, stay, let it be a game. But if it's then turning into something else, right, then remember, you do not want this. You just want to rule from your heart and be this loving, beautiful spirit that is guided here from her spirit bird, right, on her left side, her intuitive side. And so you understand that here the 3 and the 5 is an 8 as well, and that's the communication. That's the 5th chakra. And so you are seeing, right, how much, I mean, I could now intertwine the cards, but then we're gonna go here even longer than 40 minutes, and it's already a lot. Usually I like to do 30 minutes, but this was like, you know, sometimes it just happens. And I think it's the communication that I want to let you know that this is really important. So I hope I see you in the next reading. That's when we get the sun in Libra, of course. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.